Howdy, hi. This is Deer Job Sports College Basketball Picks and Predictions for Sunday, December 28th, 2025. We're looking at the best bets of the day. Let's get into the video. All right, first things first, got to recap not the previous day's results. These are results from the 23rd, which was the last day of college basketball before the break. We went 3-3, bringing our season record to 198-151. We add $6 to the giveaway fund. That total is now even at $50. Nobody gets added to or taken off of the ban list. Let's get into it. If I recall, most of these games, they were tight. We lost a few by a couple points. We won a few by a couple points. The only real blowout winners or losers, Green Bay never stood a chance. And I think the over in the UCF game hit by like 8 or 9 points. But I'll recap these and we'll get on to tomorrow. First winner, we had UCLA minus 25.5. If I recall, this was close. And kind of. They won by 32. How much were they up at halftime? It's not loading, so that's great. But they won by 32. Here we go. They were up by 11 at halftime. So they kind of piled it on the second half. They shot 50% from deep, 33% from deep, 50% from the field. They won the rebound battle. They won the turnover battle. Just a good day. Next one, the over in that UCF game. Who did they even play? So long ago, I forget. FAU, of course. Final score 85-80. So closer than I remembered. They scored 94 points in the second half. Good God. And it wasn't even free throws. There was only a total of 34 free throws attempted in the entire game. So looks like they just started hooping. And then we hit St. John's minus 24.5. If I recall, this hit by the hook. They won by, or not the hook, they won by 26. So a 1.5 winner there. Looks like that line closed 26.5. So some of y'all might have gotten screwed. Then our losers, we had two of them that lost and should have hit, and one that never stood a chance. The one that never stood a chance was Doug Gottlieb. Whether he's doing the podcast or not doing the podcast, turns out he is just horrible, as Green Bay loses 79-102, as Campbell shoots 60% from the field, 58% from deep, 14 of 24. That's pretty impressive. The next one, I think I got hooked on this one. Ohio State minus 26.5. If I recall, they won by 26. Yep, they won by 26. 89-63. They shot 62% from the field, 33% from deep. They won the rebound battle by 8. They only won the turnover battle by 1. They had 14 turnovers against Grambling. That is not good. I believe that was their last game before Big Ten play. Yes, it was. Their next game, Friday, January 2nd at Rutgers. Should be a pretty easy win. Then our last one, this was disgusting. This didn't hit. Lindenwood, plus 3.5. They lose by 5. They had a halftime lead in this game. They were up. Oh, wait, no, they didn't. Holy God. They were down 12 at halftime. They won the second half 43-36. They shot 14% from deep and 58% from the free throw line. They won the offensive rebound battle. They tied the turnover battle. Neither team played well. How do you shoot 14% from deep? They went 3 of 22. They lose by 5. They should have won the game. That was not fun, but that is how we go 3-3. Let's get on to the picks we got for tomorrow. All right, first game we got, Santa Clara is laying 6.5 points in Corvallis. Why? I don't know, but this line makes absolutely no sense. Oregon State, they're coming off of a road win at Arizona State. Santa Clara is coming off of a home loss to Loyola Chicago. That is one of the worst teams in the country you just lost at home to, and now you're laying 6.5 points at Oregon State. That makes no sense. Santa Clara, 9-4 off the year. Again, they just lost it to Loyola Chicago by 2 at home. Their other losses are not too bad. On the road to Arizona State, on the road to New Mexico, and then a neutral site against St. Louis. Those aren't atrocious. But again, you cannot lose at home to the Ramblers. Most of their wins came early in the year. They beat some good programs, Murray State, Xavier. But those were early. They're still figuring out what they were doing with their rosters. Now that most of the teams know what they're working with, It would appear as though Santa Clara ain't very good. Oregon State, 7-6 on the year. They just won in Tempe by 3 points. They score 73 a game, play at a bottom 50 pace, shoot it 44% from the field. I mean, they get beat in most of the stats, but again, I think that's all coming from just stuff that happened early in the season. We are now almost in January. This is the start of conference play. I think Oregon State comes out, makes a statement. I believe this is their first year in the West Coast Conference, unless they were in this last year and I forget, but I don't think they were. All right, next game we got ODU is on the road at Maryland. I'm going to lay the 12.5 with the Terps. This number has actually come down. When I first typed this up, it was 13.5. It is now 12.5. I don't know why it's heading in this direction. Old Dominion is not good. I don't think Maryland is as bad as their 6-6 record. They've just played pretty tough teams. So I will take Maryland. This is their final game before they hit Big Ten play. Old Dominion has lost 6 out of their last 7 games outright. They're 4-9 on the year. Their wins games against JMU, Morgan State, Norfolk State, and then a Division II. They're an old team. They start all upperclassmen. I think they're just bad. They score 74 a game, shoot it 43% from the field, bottom 100 rebounding team. They don't do anything particularly well. They don't do anything particularly awful. However, their defense is not great. Bottom 75 in the country. I just don't think they're going to be focused on this game. I mean, whether you do or do not do well at Maryland, your next game is conference play. You should be pretty focused on that. Maryland, 6-6 on the year. They got 3 losses in a row to Iowa by 19, Michigan by 18 in a game of which they led at halftime, and then Virginia by 8. They are dealing with a decent amount of injuries down low. However, I don't really think it matters. They're a deep team. They're well coached. They've been decent against these low major schools. They beat Cotton State by 22, Alcorn by 20, Wagner by 26. I think they're going to lay belt to ass before they get into Big Ten play. Get right spot. They've had a decent amount of time off. Let's get it. All right, next game we got. I'm shocked the over is this low. It is Penn at George Mason. Why is this not like almost touching 160? What are we doing with this number in the 140s? We've taken 2 George Mason overs this year. They've both hit. We've taken 1 Penn over this year. That one is hit. You got 2 teams who are focused on offense. I don't know why this isn't like 158, 159.5. Penn, 6-5 on the year, coming off of a 1-point road loss to Rutgers. They score 78 points a game, play at a top 100 pace, shoot it 44% from the field. They're good on the offensive glass, should lead to a decent amount of putbacks. They have a bottom 100 ranked defense. I mean, this is realistically Iowa's offense and defense. It is Fran McCaffrey's team in year 1 of his alma mater. Probably going to coach here for a few years and then call it good. George Mason, 11-1 on the year. Their only loss coming on the road to Virginia Tech by 11. They score 80 a game. They shoot it 48% from the field. Also a very solid rebounding team. They are 9-0 at home. They average 82 points a game on their own court. I don't see how they're scoring under 80. Significant size advantage. Better shooting team. Penn's going to push the pace. I think this is going way over 148.5. All right, next game, we'll go quick over. Louisiana should not be laying a number to any team in the entire country. It is the first year of head coach Quantis Wright, who used to be an associate head coach under Calvin Sampson at Houston. This team is awful. I think they're one of the worst offensive teams in the entire country. Norfolk is not bad. They can actually put ball in hoop. I will take them plus 1.5. I would recommend getting the 1.5 normally when the lines are this tight. Sometimes you need the 1.5. Norfolk, 6-9 on the year, 2-1 in their last 3 games, beating Jackson State and UTEP. Then they lost to UC Irvine by, I think, 19 or 20. They score 76 a game, play at a top 150 pace, shoot it 46% from the field. They win basically every single stat battle. This is an old team. They start 4 seniors and then 1 true freshman at point guard. So you know that motherfucker is a dog. Louisiana, they're 2-11 on the year. Their wins came against ULM by 4 and then SELA by 6. They score 57 points a game. That is dead last in Division I basketball. 38% from the field. That's not from deep. That is from anywhere on the court. 66% from the free throw line. They're bottom 20 in rebounding. This team is straight ass. They're trying to develop a defensive identity. Again, this is the former assistant coach under Calvin Sampson at Houston. So you know what they're going to try to bring. But they just suck. They can't shoot, and they also don't know how to play defense yet. They're horrible. Giving Norfolk plus 1.5. All right, next game. This one's another easy one. Why is Boston College laying 13.5 points to anyone? Give me Lemoyne plus 13.5. Boston College, probably the worst Power 4 school in the country. It's between them, Georgia Tech. That's probably it. Maybe Rutgers. Rutgers is also really bad. But that's got to be like top 3 in terms of worst P4s. They're not good. Lemoyne, they just lost a road game to St. Bonaventure by 11. I would lay 5 to 6 points with the St. Bonnies against Boston College. So I will take the 13.5. Lemoyne, 5-7 on the year. They lost their last 2 games against Texas and St. Bonaventure. They score 76 a game, played a bottom 150 pace, shoot it 46% from the field. They win every single stat battle here besides rebounding. Not that big of a deal. I mean, Boston College isn't going to get up much shots. They played a very slow pace. And the only reason their rebounding numbers look good is because they've scheduled a bunch of cupcakes. They haven't played anyone good, and they are still 6-6. Their last game, they beat Fairleigh Dickinson by 11 points at home. So far this year, they have losses to UMass, LSU, Tulane, Davidson, Central Connecticut State, and FAU. They score 70 points a game, played a bottom 30 pace. This team is awful. Why are they laying 13.5 points? All right, next game. Someone explained to me why an Ivy League school is playing a true road game, laying 14.5 points. It's almost the same angle as Boston College. You will never catch me laying 14.5 with an Ivy League school. Give me North Florida plus 14.5. Also give me the over 162.5. Both of these teams like to shoot three-pointers. This is going to be a very high variance game. Could Columbia win this thing by 30? Sure, if they're hitting their three-pointers and North Florida is missing. Also, could North Florida win this thing by 10? Yes, if they're hitting their three-pointers, most definitely. Columbia, 9-3 on the year. They've lost 2 in a row. On the road to Stony Brook by 4, and then at Cal by 18. This is a really weird travel spot. You were on the road at Stony Brook. You then head to the West Coast. You lose by 18. You come back home, spend Christmas at home, and now you're immediately on the road again to North Florida. Really weird. Don't like this. Team, very three-point dependent. They make 9 a game. A great rebounding team, but they really haven't played anyone that good. They have size down low. They could destroy North Florida on the glass, which is the main reason I'm taking the over. If they do just win the offensive rebound battle by 20, the over should be good, and they'll probably cover. But if they don't, I think North Florida stays in this. The Ospreys are 2-10 on the year. They have not beaten a Division I school. Both of their wins came against D2s. They have played a very tough schedule, though. Road games at Florida, Tennessee, Gonzaga, Dayton, Miami. They clearly are not winning any of those. They've only played 1 true home game against a Division I. It was at home to Prairie View, and they lost by 3. I think they can cover this number. Questionably win this game outright. Give me North Florida. Give me the over. All right, and then final game. Give me Omaha plus 19.5. Oregon has looked like probably a bottom 4 or 5 Big Ten school. You got Minnesota in there, Rutgers in there, Penn State's in there, Maryland's in there. They should not be laying 19.5 to anyone. Omaha, they're not bad. They've covered this in every single game this year, but 2 where they lost by 26 to Colorado State, and then 26 to LSU, and then 23 to Colorado State. They're 7-7 on the year. They most recently beat Lamar on the road. I think that's going to be one of the better teams in the Southland. They score 79 a game, put a bottom 150 pace, shoot at 47% from the field. They do like the three-pointer, make it 9 a contest. They're very good at not turning the ball over. Oregon, 6-6 on the year, coming off of a 9-point road loss to Gonzaga. This is a veteran team. They just stink. They score 78, played a bottom 125 pace, shoot at 43% from the field. The only really good thing they're good at is rebounding. All right, so there are no almost bets. Dude, this slate tomorrow is really not that good. There's a lot of Division II games. Let me just look at this one more time real quick, just to make sure I'm not tripping when I'm saying this. But there's a million Division II games. Yeah, like you start off the day, St. Joe's plays Arcadia, then Bryant plays Worcester State. Then you have K-State and UL Monroe. I'm not betting that. Texas Tech and Winthrop. No, thank you. Harvard and Colgate, where the line has already moved 4 points. No, thank you. And then a bunch of Division IIs. Like Morehead State is playing Alice Lloyd College. Who in the fuck is that? Let's go to another random game. What about Longwood versus Everett? Or how about St. Louis versus the PRNC Panthers? Could I interest you in New Mexico State versus University of the Southwest? Or how about Presbyterian versus Truett McConnell? Like, all these games are shit. So I have no almost bets. The rest of the schedule is pretty bad. The only other decent game is St. Mary's at LMU. And that line stinks because St. Mary's is laying 8.5. So I'm not touching it. All right, that's going to do it for me in this video. I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. And I will catch you in the next one. Peace.